All right, let's talk about something that's a huge decision for a lot of people: egg donation. We're going to get into the real risks and the very real rewards. So, you're thinking about becoming an egg donor? It's a massive decision, right? Our whole goal here is just to give you the straight up, balanced info you need to feel good about whatever you decide. Okay, let's just get right to it. This number here, 1 to 2%, that's the risk of a severe complication. It's low for sure, but it's not zero, and it's super important to have that in your head from the get-go. And then there's the other side of the coin, the reward. We're talking somewhere between $8,000 and $20,000 for a single cycle here in the US. And right there, that's the tension, isn't it? That's the core decision we're talking about. But look, before we get lost in the details, let's just put the most important thing right on the table: the good news. The vast majority of donors, almost everyone, they were covered just fine, with maybe some mild temporary side effects. That's the typical story. Okay, so with that as our starting point, let's zoom out and look at the whole shebang. Over the next few minutes, we're going to walk through the big picture, giving you a clear-eyed view of the entire process. When you boil it all down, egg donation is this incredibly generous act. You're literally helping create families. But, and this is a big but, it is a medical procedure. That means knowing everything you can is absolutely key to making a choice you feel confident about. All right, first up, let's get into the nitty-gritty. What actually happens to your body during a cycle? We'll cover the physical process and the short-term risks you need to know about. So, the whole thing kicks off with a series of hormone injections. The goal is to stimulate your ovaries to produce more eggs than usual. Now, for most people, the side effects are totally manageable. Things like bloating, maybe some weight gain from water retention. You might feel a bit moody, headaches, feeling tired, that kind of stuff. It's all temporary. So remember that 1 to 2% risk we talked about? Well, this is mainly what we're referring to, a condition called Ovarian Hyperstimulation Syndrome, or OHSS. In the rare, severe cases, your ovaries swell up and can leak fluid into your body. That's when you'd need medical attention. It's the main serious risk to be aware of. And as this chart shows, severe OHSS really is rare. The huge majority of cycles go off without this kind of complication. So while any case of it needs to be taken seriously and dealt with by doctors, it's not what typically happens. Okay, so after the meds, you have the actual egg retrieval. It's a pretty minimally invasive procedure. The risks here are also super low, but, they exist. We're talking about a small chance of infection, usually handled with antibiotics, some minor bleeding, or even more rarely, a complication with the anesthesia. So here's the bottom line on all the physical stuff. Serious complications are rare. And the single biggest thing you can do to keep that risk low: work with a really skilled, attentive medical team. Seriously, their expertise is your best friend in this whole process. All right, so that covers the immediate physical part of the journey. But what about the bigger picture? Let's talk about long-term health and the emotional side of things, which goes way beyond the procedure itself. This has to be the biggest question, right? The one that's probably on your mind right now. If I do this, will it mess with my own fertility down the line? Well, the research we have right now is pretty reassuring on this front. The data really doesn't show a significant impact on future fertility for most donors. After the cycle is over, your ovaries pretty much go back to business as usual, ready to do their thing if you decide you want kids later on. But this whole thing isn't just a physical marathon. It's an emotional one too, and it's so important to be ready for that. Some donors feel a real attachment to the eggs, or they think about the child that might be born. These feelings are completely normal, and that's why counseling is such a crucial part of the process, to help you navigate all of that. And you know what we hear over and over again from past donors? That the feeling of helping someone build their family, that reward, it just completely outweighed any of the temporary physical stuff they went through. Okay, so we've laid out the risks. Now let's talk about what you can do. How do you stay in the driver's seat and protect your own health and safety? This is all about the steps you can take to feel in control. It really comes down to 3 things. Number 1, choose a trusted clinic. Do your homework. Find a place that's accredited and has a great track record. 2, follow every single piece of medical advice to the letter. Don't skip appointments. Don't fudge instructions. And 3, listen to your body. You're your own best advocate. If something feels off, you report it to your team right away. No hesitation. Okay, let's bring it all home. We're going to lay out the pros and cons to help you do your own personal calculus. Because at the end of the day, this is a deeply, deeply personal decision. So here it is, side by side. In the pros column, you've got this amazing experience of helping create a family. You have the financial compensation, which can be significant. And hey, you also get some really valuable health info about yourself from all this screening. Then in the cons column, there's the short-term physical discomfort we talked about. There's that rare but real risk of complications. There are the emotional questions to think through. And of course, it's a big time commitment. So, after looking at all of this, the process, the risks, the rewards, the decision really just comes back to you. When you look at this balance, what does this choice really mean for you?